Welcome back to the channel. It's Sunday. It's just coming up to 4 o'clock here in Edinburgh. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a warm day, but it's whatever. We're going to go over Glory and Willow. I recently got the Glory soundtrack and the Willow soundtrack. So let's do Glory first. I can't remember when I first saw this film. It came out in 1989, but it's a fantastic film. It's about the first African American regiment formed during the American Civil War. 54th Regiment of Massachusetts it was known as. But Matthew Broderick was famous for teen films, and I think he gave a wonderful performance. But the cast also includes Denzel Washington, who won an Oscar, rightly so, and Morgan Freeman as well. But there isn't a duff performance in the whole film. For an epic scale film, it's not epic length. It's just a couple of minutes over 2 hours, I think. But it's moving. It's an awesome film, and it's only helped by a wonderful score by James Horner. Now, I only got the score a few years after seeing the film. In fact, I saw the film, I think probably, I didn't see it when it first came out, probably about 92, 93 when it had come out on DVD. I then upgraded to the Blu-ray. I should really get it on 4K. But I love the score, but it took me a while to get it, and I got the first release of the score, which was this one here, which had a decent amount of score on it. But obviously last year, I believe, the La La Land did the 2-disc, and again, thank you to David Pensak for essentially getting this for me. Very kind of him. So thank you again, David. Wonderful score. I listened to it again yesterday in preparation for this. The complete score. It's not a hugely long score. It's wonderful. It's there, sometimes you skip a track because you think can do without that. It's a bit, but there isn't a single track on this that you're going to skip. It's a moving. It's beautiful. If you're a fan of James Horner, you're a fan of Glory, you know the score. But this 2-disc version, it's got the score presentation, including the different film mixes. Birdman asked me to, when I got this score, to listen to the closing credits first, and I thought, okay. And it's a wonderful mix of that. Well, not completely different, but the percussion at the beginning of it is right to the forefront. It gives it a completely different feel to the soundtrack recording of it, or the soundtrack mix. The original soundtrack album is on this 2-disc one. It's on the second disc. There we go. I'll put some pictures of this up at the end. But it's got loads of additional music. It's got source music, which Neil from Retro Reels said the source music would go well with pasta. That was a funny joke though. But wonderful score. I can thoroughly recommend that and the film. If you haven't seen the film, see it. If you haven't listened to the score, listen to it. Beautiful stuff. Okay, next up is Willow. I think I've mentioned this before. I think I mentioned it when I did the James Horner CD kind of troll. I saw this in 1988, kind of just before Christmas in Winchester. I was in the army at the time, doing a course at nearby Worthy Down, and a group of us went to see Willow. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Got the soundtrack on LP shortly after, when you could buy LPs in shops all over the place. So, and they were about $5.99 a piece. Now that's probably, if that was available on vinyl, it would probably be about 30 quid. I don't know what that is in dollars. I don't know how much are LPs in the States and Canada? $40, something like that. I don't know. But vinyl is just so expensive these days. But then I upgraded to this, the soundtrack, the CD soundtrack, it was a good amount of music on there, about 73 minutes of music. So that was a really good release, and the scale of the music in Willow is just immense. You know, people call stuff epic these days, but the epic means something else. It's just something daft, Zimmerized stuff. But this just had an epic scale. The orchestra sounded massive, and it probably was augmented. But yeah, it was fantastic stuff. But obviously, everybody has been going on about it on Facebook and wherever people have internet access about, you know, where's the expanded Willow? Where's the expanded Willow? Well, Intrada did it. There it is, the expanded Willow. 2 discs. I think it's 108 minutes of music. I made a couple of notes here. 108 minutes of music. So that's over half an hour extra from the previous one. Now, I watched the film again because a couple of days ago, just for context. I keep saying that, you know, if you love music, it's great to see the film because it gives you some kind of idea of what the music was supposed to be doing at a particular point in the film. But music still works beautifully with the film, and the film still stands up over 30 years later. It's got a certain realism to it, which helps. I mean, it's got comic relief in the little brownie guys. But there's a certain grittiness and reality to it, and a certain brutality to it as well. Some of the battle scenes are quite visceral, especially the final one. But yeah, and it feels dangerous, you know. But anyway, the performances of everybody involved were wonderful. Warwick Davis, who's going to be in the new Willow TV series on Disney Plus, looking forward to that. Val Kilmer, of course, and Joanne Whaley, if that's how you pronounce her name, who was later Joanne Whaley Kilmer, who Mrs. But yeah, there's I say over half an hour extra on this one. Again, if you're a fan of Willow, you need this. And it's still available from Intrada, I think. If it's not out of stock, it's very, very popular release. But yeah. The standout kind of extra tracks on this, well, for me, were the sled ride. Always wanted that. That was one of those things that after seeing the film, you listen to the soundtrack and try and find that track on there, thinking it may be buried in there somewhere, but it wasn't. Now we have it. 108 minutes of glorious, glorious music performed by the London Symphony Orchestra. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. But yeah, again, film is great, score's great. So if you're a James Horner fan and you haven't got these in your collection, why not? You need them. Get them now while they're a fairly decent price as well. The problem with soundtracks is, especially popular ones, these kind of releases sell out really quick, and then unscrupulous people will be selling them for just silly money on eBay and stuff like that. But yeah, get them. Wonderful, wonderful scores. Yeah, what am I going to do next? I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to do it. As I say, I'm not going to make plans. Well, I am going to make plans, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. But there's some cool stuff coming up. So until next time, good day.